part 3 of our series on Dean Corll, we'll take a look at the storm that followed the 4-month calm that Dean had in early 1973, including an 8-victim killing spree. We'll discuss the distance that Wayne and David tried to put between themselves and Dean, the incident that brought this story to an end, and what happened to Wayne and David. Oh yeah, and there's still the shitty cops and Dean's mother, Mary West. I'm Mike.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Dave. If you thought Dean Corll was a friend of SpongeBob's from Bikini Bottom, stick around. Because unlike a coral reef, this coral deserves to be an endangered species. This is Necronomipod.
Hello? Mama. Who's this? It's Wayne.
Yes, this is Mama, baby.
Mama?
Yes?
I killed Dean.
Wayne?
Ma'am?
What are you doing?
Yes.
Oh, God. Where are you?
It's alright.
Wayne?
It's alright. It's alright.
Where are you?
I'm out of his warehouse.
Where?
Out of that warehouse he keeps.
Can I come out there?
Yes.
Is it behind the park?
You can't. No, you can't come.
This has been 3 weeks. Not the most fun 3 weeks.
It's been long.
I've done more funner things.
It's an interesting story. I think we talked about it last week. We had requests for this. I don't know what sick fucks are requesting this one, but
Yeah, and I'm the one that picked this because of Ethan Hawke.
you had to do a book.
Yeah.
Just the torture aspect just takes it to a whole new level.
That and the fact that it's
sickening.
It's, minors and stuff and roping them in. Did you work any more on your Candyman album, Dave, that you wanted to
I did not.
Sorry, I don't know if you said that off air or on air. You can,
It was on there.
Oh, okay.
It'd be highly offensive, but
Yeah, probably.
Just know that if I had written some Candyman parody songs,
It'd have been so good.
they would have been awesome.
You all have been laughing your ass off right now if you would have done it. But he didn't do it, so.
Some
In
other
good
time.
taste. It's in good taste not to do it.
Some other time.
I will say with this book, I had to take breaks from it when I read it.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, because my son is right in that age range of this stuff. And it's like,
It hits home.
you can't even imagine. I know I said it last week too. I'm a 240-pound man, and this stuff would.
250 after a trip to Culver's.
Yeah, I'm on my way there. I'm closer to 250 than that.
Like getting killed is one thing, but when you throw in just extended, prolonged torture like that, it's unimaginable. Sure.
Just and the type of torture is so bad.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying with my size and age. It's like we're having a glass tube put in my urethra and snapped off. I would be like in the hospital.
I was just going to say, it doesn't matter how old you are, how big you are.
Yeah.
When that happens, like you're a broken person.
You're talking about a child.
Yeah. It's been a few weeks. It's been a rough few weeks.
I hope we're doing something fun next week.
I don't know. What are we doing? I don't know. I don't remember what the schedule was.
Poltergeist, I think. So that's a lot
Oh,
of
that's
fun.
right.
Something like that.
Yeah, we're going to do like a...
You moved the headstones, but you left the bodies.
we're going to do a few like short poltergeist / ghost stories, right? We're going to do like a best of like ones that aren't big enough to their own show. That'll be fun. That'll be a good time. Good. We need something like that.
Yeah.
Heavy stuff. You're drinking Powerade, Dave, and a Gatorade Zero.
So what's your fucking problem?
I'm just pick a brand, pal. Are you not brand loyal? You just buy whatever's on sale at Costco.
I like both of them. Sometimes I want a Powerade. Sometimes I want a Gatorade.
And they're both orange.
they're always orange, though.
Do they taste similar? Or do they actually have a distinction?
They're a little different, yeah.
Which would you prefer?
I think I like the Gatorade better.
Okay. Yeah. Powerade fell off, I think. Like it got, I don't know, when I was a kid, like I remember like it became like a huge thing. I don't know, kind of trailed off.
I only get orange, though.
For any like
Always.
sport drink?
Yes.
Interesting.
That's all I like.
Orange is very good. Did you ever try the Aldi one? What's the Aldi one called? That Thunder, the Aldi version of Gatorade.
No, absolutely.
For me, tastes exactly like Gatorade. I think. Yeah, they only made like the lemon, lime, orange, and fruit punch.
I've had the Aldi Red Bull version and some
Red Thunder.
Jaeger bombs.
That's what it's
before.
Red Thunder.
Yeah.
That's similar enough.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's in a Jaeger bomb, who fucking cares?
Right.
Our mutual friend. He had those glasses with the shot glass inside.
That's right. Jaeger shot glasses or Jaeger shot within a glass glasses.
Yeah, like it was like a little, almost like a rocks glass type with like a little shot glass built into the middle. And you would put the Jaeger in the middle and the Red Bull along the sides, right? And then just kind of, you'd sip it and it would pour into your mouth kind of equally.
Yeah.
You could shoot it or sip it. Yeah.
All guys that love hairy beavers have glasses like that at home. Every single one. Comes with the territory.
Back in college, I drank a ton of Jaeger bombs. I didn't have those glasses. So, I'm not trying to say anything about my beaver selection. Very good.
Beef hasn't been in the studio very often lately.
I'm glad he's back, though.
Yeah, it's been a while. What's up,
Beef?
Beef?
To see you. Good to see you, Beef. He's opening up a beer over there, fucking just hanging out, I guess.
Declan's going to blow him later. So it's a deal
I made
with his appearance today.
Part of the job description. Declan does very little work. Typical millennial. So I drank a ton of Jaeger bombs in college, and would make big mixed drinks out of them, sip them. Well, I don't know why.
I always just shoot them.
Well, it's much better that way.
Yeah.
I don't know why we did it that way. It is what it is. I don't know. Stupid, but
I can't even stomach that shit.
No,
anymore.
now it's that's what the whole point was. Now, just the thought of it, I start getting that taste in my mouth, and I'm like, I'm gonna
drink it all the time.
I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah, those are my downfall. Anytime Jaeger bombs get involved, it's that's
that's it for you.
Yeah, those are fireball type.
See you tomorrow, Ian.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna be time traveling to tomorrow.
Well, I did sit there that one night and watch you do 8 shots of Fireball. They were mini shots, but shots nonetheless of Fireball, and you just crushed them like it was nothing. And I was like, oh man, this guy means business.
Oh yeah, I just went right down the line.
You literally did.
Nice.
I tried to get you to do it with me.
No, I was smart. And I said no. First of all, I hate Fireball.
Yeah, it's not good.
Second of all, I'm not doing that.
No, don't like that.
That's what I said. Hey, Ian's like, hey, Mike, you want to do these shots with me?
No, don't like that.
So, all right, any hoodles. Part 3, let's wrap this bitch up. Spoiler, it doesn't get better.
No, there's no good outcome in this story.
Yeah.
How's that to lift your mood?
Where we left off on part 2, on March 7th, 1973, Dean moved one last time to a house owned by his father at 2020 Lamar Drive in Pasadena, Texas. And there were also some hints that Wayne and David Brooks were starting to pull away from Dean. Dean had taken a break from killing, most likely because of the fluid in his testicles he had to get surgery for. So that might also be the reason for such a significant ramp up in the murders. Starting on June 4th, 1973 through August 3rd, 1973, Dean murdered 8 boys with the help of Wayne and David Brooks.
60-day time period.
Yeah. The first 3 David Brooks was involved for, and when we're going to talk about them pulling away a bit, David Brooks was not involved in the last 5.
Okay.
According to Wayne, Dean was not acting like his normal self. Wayne said that Dean would make these twitching movements, chain smoke cigarettes, which Dean never smoked or drank, and would demand a victim saying, quote, "I need a new boy."
So is this, I think we touched on this a bit last week. Is this almost again like that cult-like behavior where they kind of become an addict and it's almost their downfall? Like the Jim Jones and, being incoherent. And
I think you could make the argument too that a lot of serial killers have this ramp up period at the very end. where it seems like it goes out of control.
Yeah, like a frenzy. They got to get in as much as they can.
Like an addiction that gets out of hand.
But I just mean the addiction in, like, you know, if he's twitching, like, is he actually getting on drugs here? Because he has like this power of like, I'll just tell these boys to bring me a new victim and then they will. And then he's dabbling into alcohol and cigarettes and things that he never typically did.
Maybe.
And spiraling from there, as we've seen cult leaders do. I don't know. I'm just...
I don't know.
Just being pop-up video over here with my little comments.
Going through these last victims, June 4th, 15-year-old William Lawrence. June 15th, 20-year-old Raymond Blackburn. July 7th, 15-year-old Homer Garcia. July 12th, 17-year-old John Sellers. July 19th, 15-year-old Michael Balch. July 25th, 18-year-old Marty Jones. July 25th, 17-year-old Charles Cobble. August 3rd, 13-year-old James Dramala. The June 4th murder of William Lawrence is a little bit different. One, we know that Dean kept William, who went by Billy, alive for at least 3 days. I can't imagine the hell that this kid went through for 3 days. But we also have a letter that Billy was forced to write to his dad. Remember, we said that Dean forced these kids to write letters home so that no one would look for them.
Of course, because the cops were like, oh, we got a letter. Case closed.
This one read, quote,
Dear Daddy, I have decided to go to Austin because I have a good job offer. I'm sorry that I decided to leave, but I had to go. P.S. I will be back in late August. Hope you understand, but I had to go. Daddy, I hope you know I love you. Your son, Billy.
15.
And there's some other ones that get brought up in The Man with the Candy. There's one where the parents realized that something was off. The kid said that he got a job loading and unloading trucks across Texas and that he would be home in the following year. And the dad was a trucker. And when he got home, his wife showed it to him, like, our kid, you know, he took off, but he says he's got a job. And says, like, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. No one hires a unloader and a loader. You pull the truck in and there's someone there to unload it and there's someone to load it. Like, he's like, so this is obvious bullshit. Took it to the police and
they told him to get lost.
Yeah. But there were a lot of parents that got these letters. They're like, that doesn't sound right.
Oh, just thinking about the kid as he's making them write these letters.
Yeah.
It's gut-wrenching.
Like we talked about last week, during Dean's break, Wayne tried to distance himself by joining the Navy, but he was turned away for dropping out of school. When asked why he didn't just run away or go to the police, Wayne said that he feared Dean would kill one of his brothers, which I don't know how true that is. Wayne played a physical role in a lot of these murders. Like, he physically strangled some of these kids with his hands, and he did not seem to have an issue with it. On the other hand, David Brooks completely pulled away during this string of summer murders. David had found himself a girlfriend. She got pregnant, and then they got married, and the two of them got an apartment outside of the Heights. So David Brooks was completely out of the picture. And Dean must have just thought that either David would be back eventually or would always be too scared to tell anyone what was going on.
So David's just like, well, it was kind of a weird phase in my life. I'm moving on.
Yeah,
I'm put all that behind me. Okay.
Fresh start. Yeah. A new me.
Fresh start, David. Yeah.
He like walks out like in like the sunshine. He's like, this is the first day of the rest of my life.
Oh my God.
Along with those addict type behaviors that Dean was showing with all the twitching, people outside of Wayne and David Brooks could see something was wrong. In part one, we talked about Dean having a girlfriend for 5 years named Betty Hawkins. Betty Hawkins is on that level of denial, right with Dean's mother, Mary. In the 5 years that the two of them dated, Dean only tried to have sex with her once and stopped before they even started, saying he wasn't in the mood.
Look, Dollface, we've been dating for 5 years and we haven't fucked yet, but kind of sleepy tonight, okay? Maybe another time.
If that man's balls aren't each like a gallon size, then you know something else is going on, right? Blue balls is real, Dave.
When the two of them went on dates, Dean would usually show up with a group of boys or David, Brooks, and Wayne. Betty said that she never found it weird. She just thought it was sweet, and Dean was so nice to all these boys. Betty herself was a divorced single mother of 2 boys, so she thought Dean was just the perfect guy.
He must have had a hell of a personality, right?
That's what, like, didn't we talk about in part 1? Was he like a charismatic guy? He wasn't really. He was just the guy that gave candy out and was nice to all the boys.
Yeah. Nice to all the kids, specifically boys.
Worked for her, I guess. Good for you, Betty.
And she stuck around for a while defending Dean.
So who was she banging on the side for 5 years?
She had to have been, right? You can't sit there with your head in the sand for that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure we're going to find out. Is Betty still around? Can we get
Unless she was doing what girls typically do when they're single and just like rub their lips until they orgasm. Right? You know what they do? Probably, I'd imagine. Anyways.
But it would be weird, though, after a while, right? Like you're trying to go on a date with someone and they're always rolling in with all these kids.
Yeah.
I feel like a normal person would be like, all right, can we get some alone time?
Yeah. Oh, hi, David. Hi, Wayne.
Yeah, right.
They go to the drive-in.
I guess there's a table for 4 tonight. You go to a drive-in, like you're getting ready to like kiss him or like, give him the old, sucky suck. They pop up in the back. She's like, hey, what's going on? We can get some popcorn? What movie we seeing tonight? She just like rolls her eyes.
Corll reservation for 8. Corll for 8.
Seinfeld 4.
Regarding Dean's behavior, Betty said that Dean was on his way out of Texas. At the end of August 1973, Dean was planning to move to Colorado to live with his mother, Mary. Betty said that Dean had picked up drinking whiskey, which Dean never drank, and she said that he was, quote, a man with something on his mind. Betty wanted to go with Dean to Colorado, but he told her the timing wasn't right. Once he got out there and got everything settled, he would let her know when to come. Also, very interesting detail about this is that, according to Betty Hawkins, Dean said, whatever you do, don't tell David Brooks where I went when I go to Colorado. Not sure if that's maybe Betty making something up after the fact of all the news coming out, with what happened here. I don't know, but according to her.
Wonder what that was about.
Yeah.
Either he's trying to cut ties and maybe he was planning on taking Wayne with him and that would just leave David as, I don't know, the eyewitness, the one that could put him away. I assume he would kill David before if he was planning that, though.
Yeah. Or is it, your arrogance so big at this point that you're just like, nah, I have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, that kid will never say anything. Just don't tell him where I'm at. I'm done with him.
Just move on.
Yeah.
If David's already distancing himself, then you go your way, I'm going to go my way. And that's it.
Yeah, David was doing the new world, new me thing. So
He was having a family.
Good. It's good. Come on. Put all that behind them.
People at the electric company where Dean worked noticed a change as well. One of his coworkers asked Dean why he was moving back to Colorado, and Dean yelled, quote, I can't talk about it. I'll handle it. And the coworker recalled, when he was being interviewed by Jack Olson, recalled thinking like, all right, man, I was just asking you a question, just trying to be friendly.
Small talk, dickhead. I don't give a fuck what you're doing.
Like he screamed that and then stormed out of the room. On the night of August 7th, 1973, Wayne invited 19-year-old Timothy Curley to go over to Dean's for a party. According to Wayne, Timothy was not supposed to be a victim, but the two of them got to Dean's where they huffed paint and drank beers until about midnight. At that point, they left Dean's and drove back to the Heights, where Timothy parked his car right outside Wayne's house.
I wonder how that decision is made. Like, who makes the cut? Like, you just get to party tonight, but we're not going to kill you.
Yeah, I don't know. And, there was a story that in David Brooks's confession that he told about one that was more on the older side, like 17, 18, was a friend of David Brooks. And David Brooks got kind of feeling guilty that this kid was going to be a victim. So he's like, hey, man, let's get out of here and head back. Yeah. And this kid was like, nah, man, I'm partying. I'm drinking and stuff. I'm not going anywhere. And Brooks was like, but we should really go, man. It's like, nah, man, I want to stay here and drink.
Yeah. So I'm going to assume he did not make it.
I know he was a victim.
No, he was a victim.
When they got out of the car, the two of them heard a bunch of fighting. Out of a house stumbled 15-year-old Rhonda Williams, who had just been beaten by her drunk father. Wayne said to Rhonda, hey, we're going to go back to Dean's to party some more. instead of running away, which Rhonda said that's what she was doing. She was on her way out of Texas. So instead of running away, just come with us. Rhonda accepted, and the three of them headed back to Dean's. Fun fact, guaranteed not a coincidence, Rhonda Williams was the girlfriend of Frank Aguirre, who was the first victim that Wayne brought to Dean. Wayne also had a big crush on Rhonda, so it's a lot of speculation that Frank was brought there on purpose.
That's like King David in the Bible when he was banging that guy's wife and he wanted to marry her, so he just sent him up to the front lines in battle and got him killed, and then he married his wife.
Who fucking needs them? All right. Put them up there with Waynes and Keiths. Ugh.
At 3 a.m., Wayne, Timothy, and Rhonda showed up at Dean's. As soon as Dean saw Rhonda, he almost let his anger burst out in front of everyone. But he pulled Wayne into another room and yelled at him, quote, "You weren't supposed to bring a goddamn girl. You've ruined everything." Wayne told Dean that Rhonda was running away, and he was really sorry that he brought her with him. Dean started to calm down and went back out to the living room, where he brought out beer and spray paint to huff. After about 2 hours of huffing paint and drinking, all three of them passed out.
How do these guys even have any brain cells left after all this paint huffing?
There's a lot of paint huffing going on.
The few cells they had to begin with, right?
Yeah. Well, this guy had 126 IQ, right?
Yeah, Wayne was pretty smart.
Wayne had the 126?
Down to 80 with all this paint huffing.
The only reason that Wayne Henley's life went off the tracks really was the fact that he had to get part-time jobs to help his mother pay bills. He was really doing well in school before that happened, because the same year that he dropped out was the same year he met Dean.
Yeah.
So shit kind of went off the rails for him real quick.
Shit's popping off.
Yeah.
Plus, he seemed to like to strangle young boys.
He definitely
Also
did.
that. What's it like to do a paint huff?
Got me in that.
I never huffed
You guys
paint.
never did a paint huff?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Never did a paint. Never did a glue huff either.
I've never huffed in my life anything. I'd like to do a huff
I've done
day.
whippets. I don't know if that's close.
Yeah, I've done whippets for
I
sure.
want to do a huff one day.
I mean, you can do that anytime, really. You can just grab a can of spray paint.
You want me to run to the garage real quick? We can make that happen in 30 seconds.
Do it live. Fuck it. We'll do it live. I'll huff it. I'll do it myself. Fuck it. Fucking thing sucks.
You probably just get high for like a second and get a big fucking headache afterwards.
Yeah, I don't need that.
No,
that sounds awful. Why? Kids are stupid.
it's cheap.
What would you say? Whippets? Like, did you get a good high out of that? Or was
No,
it
it's
like,
horrible.
yeah.
It's a big head rush to your brain real quick for like 15 seconds.
You feel like a piece
You feel
of
like
shit.
your head's going to explode. It's horrible. I don't know why people like it.
Do people like it, or is it just dumb kids trying it once and be like,
I
yeah,
don't
fuck
know.
this?
I mean, back in,
Olden times.
the 80s,
Olden
they seemed to
times.
like it.
Before you just, get on YouTube and, get addicted to just watching videos nonstop.
Yeah.
Just do whippets.
People can get addicted to huffing stuff, like the computer duster. I've seen episodes of that intervention show on A&E where they have to sit.
That blows the
where they have to like sit down with somebody and give them an intervention because they huff that shit. Just put it right up to their mouth and
Oh, my
huff
God.
it.
All right.
But a lot of that going on in Texas. A lot of huff and paint. Wayne woke up lying on his stomach to Dean clicking handcuffs on his wrists. Wayne's ankles were already bound with nylon rope and he had duct tape over his mouth. And as he looked around, he realized that Dean was in the process of getting ready to torture and kill them. There was plastic tarp covering the floor. Timothy was completely naked and bound, and Rhonda was bound but left fully clothed. When Dean realized that Wayne was awake, he pulled the duct tape off and told Wayne, quote, "Man, you blew it bringing that girl. I'm going to kill you all, but first I'm going to have my fun." At that point, Dean picked Wayne up, dragged him to the kitchen, and put a .22 against Wayne's stomach and said that this was it. Wayne started pleading for his life, and he told Dean that he was sorry about Rhonda, that he would kill Rhonda himself so Dean didn't have to worry about it, and then he would dispose of the bodies of both Rhonda and Timothy. Dean agreed, and Timothy was strapped to the torture board on his stomach, and on the other side of the board, Rhonda was strapped with her back against the board. That's horror movie shit.
Absolutely.
For Wayne,
it
like you
is.
wake up and you're already
You see
tied up.
two other people just all tied up.
He was already supposed to be the victim the first time.
Yeah. All for bringing a girl.
Yeah, Wayne.
Dean did not like females.
No, he did not. Dean handed Wayne a hunting knife and told him to cut off Rhonda's clothes. Wayne listened and started cutting off her clothes while Dean undressed and started to rape and torture Timothy. Timothy had fully woken up at this point and was screaming through his gag, and Rhonda was just starting to wake up. Rhonda raised her head and asked Wayne, quote, "Is this for real?" To which Wayne said yes, and then Rhonda asked him if he was going to do anything to help them. Wayne then asked Dean if he could take Rhonda into another room, but Dean ignored him and kept torturing Timothy. Wayne grabbed the .22 that Dean had put into his stomach off the bed and pointed it at Dean and said, quote, "You've gone far enough, Dean. I can't go on any longer. I can't have you kill all my friends."
6 or 7 or 8 of them was fine. This is a bridge too far.
Hey, pal, you've crossed the line.
Dean walked toward Wayne and said, "What are you going to do? Kill me?" Wayne took a couple steps back, and as Dean said, "You won't really do it. Go ahead and shoot." Wayne pulled the trigger, and either Dean has a really thick skull or this .22 was just garbage, because Wayne shot him in the forehead and the bullet didn't fully penetrate Dean's head.
We've had a couple different stories where 22 headshots, if I believe, didn't kill people. Screen Door Intruder, I believe, shot someone in the head with a 22.
Yeah.
He survived.
So like the bullet's just sticking half in his head?
That's the way it's described. Like it didn't fully go in.
Crazy.
Oh, man.
So Wayne shot 2 more times, hitting Dean in the left shoulder. At that point, Dean turned to run away, but Wayne shot him 3 more times in the back. Dean made it into the hallway outside the room, hit against one of the walls, and slid down it, dying on the floor naked with his face up against the wall.
You be posting that on Instagram?
The picture's out there.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
At 8:24 a.m., Wayne called the police and said, quote, "Y'all better come here right now. I just killed a man." Wayne, Rhonda, and Timothy sat on the front porch waiting for the police, where Wayne said to Timothy, quote, "If you wasn't my friend, I could have gotten $200 for you." Which Timothy's like, "The fuck, man?"
Jeez, what does that even mean? Like,
Right? What do you want me to say?
fuck
Thank you?
Yeah.
Timothy grabs a gun and puts one in Wayne's head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then calls the police and said, "I just killed the man. Get down here quicker."
About 30 minutes later, the police showed up, and Wayne said that he was the one that shot and killed Dean. Wayne was read his rights, and when the officer was done, Wayne replied, quote, "I don't care who knows about it. I have to get it off my chest." Wayne could have probably gotten away with this whole thing. Based on the Houston Police Department's record, they probably would have just taken Wayne's word for it.
So he just killed this guy that was trying to attack them.
Yeah, we were victims.
Yeah, Wayne could have walked away from this easy. I think.
Absolutely.
I don't know whether it was guilt or being a stupid criminal or what, but Wayne confessed. But he did the same shit that Dean did at first. Wayne told them he and David Brooks were luring boys to Dean, but Dean was just selling them into a sex ring based out of Dallas, Texas. Which, again, it's like, that's not any better. Like, that's not the, that shouldn't be the excuse. Eventually, Wayne just admitted to everything and told the police that the bodies were buried at Dean's boat shed, some at High Island Beach and some at Lake Sam Rayburn. When David Brooks' father heard the news about Dean being killed and links to all these disappearing kids, David's father took him to the police and said, "If you know anything, you need to tell the police so those families can find their sons." And David confessed to everything, but he was adamant that he never participated in any of the murders. He lured the boys to Dean, and he was in the room when murders happened, but he never physically killed someone. Wayne said the same, that David never physically participated in any of the murders. With the confessions, the search for bodies began. However, the Houston Police Department weren't going to be the ones searching.
Well, why would they?
Gotta get to the bar.
Yeah. You don't expect them to get their, hands dirty on this.
Instead, they got people in jail serving time for things like DUIs or possession of weed to do the digging. They said, "Hey, you're going to come out here and dig, and we'll take some time off your sentences." This is fucking ridiculous on so many
Can you
levels.
believe that shit?
It's nuts. And there's pictures of it. I put it in my Insta story a couple weeks ago.
It really is crazy.
It's the 70s, but it's not the Stone Ages. Like there's forensics.
There's crime labs at that time and stuff.
Yeah.
Procedures on how to
Investigate a crime scene.
Yeah.
It's the most ridiculous contaminating of a crime scene. John Wayne Gacy got caught 5 years later in 1978, but not too much had really changed regarding forensics in that amount of time. The Chicago Police Department had a meticulous operation set up to get bodies out of Gacy's crawl space. And Gacy killed more kids, provable kids, than Dean Corll did. Yeah. But Houston police just like, fuck it, here's some basic shovels.
Hey, you know what? Chicago PD, kudos. Well done.
Yeah, they had a whole operation going there for a little while.
Good for them. I'm sure they also probably, I don't remember the story as well as I should, per usual, but I'm sure they didn't ignore tips as much either. Or, you know, simply running a license plate.
No, there was none of that really going on there.
Such.
Yeah. That's a good point, Mike.
Yeah, so they just gave these guys that were serving time for DUIs, things like that, basic shovels and some bandanas to put over their face for the smell and just get in there and start digging. You can see the pictures of this shed online. It's probably about as big as this room. It's a steel shed and it's Texas heat digging in there. And you're not even a fucking cop. You're forced to dig because you're an inmate.
It's like a bad chain gang sort of situation, you know?
Yeah, you're just like breaking rocks, you know.
But a really fucked up one that you shouldn't be a part of at all.
Yeah, I would say no. I'll don't shorten my sentence. I'll stay in here and not have to do that slave labor and suffer in that heat.
Was it a voluntary, possibly, when you offer to shave off their sentence?
That's what I mean. Like if they offer to shave it off, I just thought maybe you could be like, no, you know, get fucked. I'll go sit in the hole for 24 hours.
Yeah, or was it compulsory? Like they're like, get out there, motherfuckers.
It was,
that's
quote, volunteer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a quote unquote volunteer.
With a nightstick in the back of your leg.
Right. You're not Andy Dufresne drinking beers on top of a roof after, you know. Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Life can be overwhelming, and many people are burned out without even knowing it. Symptoms can include lack of motivation, irritability, fatigue, and more. We associate burnout with work, but that's not the only cause. Any of our roles in life can lead us to feel burned out, and BetterHelp Online Therapy wants to remind you to prioritize yourself. Talking with someone can help you figure out what's causing stress in your life. When I get burned out, my stress level skyrockets. This usually causes me to have crippling anxiety, which then prevents me from getting anything done. I often have to take time to stop, remind myself to breathe, and just relax. Talking with someone about how you're feeling can also help you out, more than you probably realize. Your mental health should be taken seriously. Nothing can cripple your day or stunt your motivation more than feeling depressed, anxious, or sad. We all have a lot to deal with in our daily lives, be it the struggles of work, keeping food on your table, or even paying the bills. Your mental health is one area that you shouldn't have to worry about. So whether life currently has you down, you're feeling unfulfilled, we're all experiencing our own form of strain in our mental health. And for that, BetterHelp is here for us. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you could be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Necronomipod listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/necro. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/necro. That's BetterHelp.com/necro. And thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's podcast.
Inside the boat shed before the digging started, the police found a stolen half-stripped car, a kid's bike, a large metal drum, water bottles, like big, like gallon size, 2 big bags of lime, and a big garbage bag full of teenage boys' clothing. Instead of cataloging this stuff right away, the police just threw it outside the shed and let it all sit in the sun and had the inmates start digging. Not long after they started digging, they had a layer of lime, and underneath they pulled out the first victim. As they continued, they just kept pulling out more and more bodies. Like we said last week, some victims were shot, some were strangled. The ones who were strangled still had the ligature around their necks, and most of their faces were frozen in like this screaming, kind of terrified expression.
It's like our Buried Alive episode almost.
Yeah.
Screaming, terrified expression, Dave, with some hair pulled out.
That was really scary and terrifying. Oh, thank you.
Dave, imagine tonight when you wake up and you suddenly just can't move and can't like sit your head up. Your breathing gets rapid.
No, that's not going to happen.
I just want to ruin his night.
Just like Jack told Rose, I'm going to die an old man warm in my bed or whatever the quote was.
Well, yeah, that's what's going to happen. You're an old man who's going to die in your bed, but you're going to be suffering thinking about being buried alive and terrifying dreams.
No.
Tonight.
Negative.
Don't panic, though, because you're just going to make it worse. You got to
This guy for real?
control your breathing.
I have nightmares of that mustache, if anything.
Meanwhile, most women are dreaming about this one.
So
Or something like that. That's what I tell myself.
So the police, you know, on top of having inmates do the digging and basically all the crime scene work on this.
Like the inmates are dusting for fingerprints. The guy's like, I made a mistake. I had 3 beers and I drove a car. Why am I now digging for dead bodies?
The police just allowed the media to talk to Wayne. Like really weird. They brought him out there to show where bodies were, things like that. And they just
was just standing
He
there?
was just standing there in handcuffs, and the media was talking to him. Wayne's joking around with the officers and stuff. It's like a lot of these guys, when we talk about like Bundy with defending himself, it's like, this is my time to shine now. That's exactly what Wayne did here.
Is there video of any of the TV interviews?
It's some audio.
Is there?
You can hear him talk to his mom on the phone pretty early on, like, because there were reporters there that first night. Like from the get-go, they allowed the media way too close to this. I don't know why.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. But there's a recording of him calling his mom and him saying, I killed Dean, and she's super upset.
So these police or JonBenet police crime scene?
This
You
police
were going to die,
department is-
and one of the departments had to investigate your death. Which one you picking?
I would pick JonBenet because they were actually trying. They just made a lot of weird mistakes. This was we don't even care.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's fair.
Yeah.
It's the correct answer, Ian. Good job.
Thank you.
There may have been some incompetence in Boulder with JonBenet, but
Certainly was.
not like this.
But you
deliberate malfeasance and
Well, in all fairness, she was a well-off white girl too.
you can make that point, sure.
Yeah. But they at least they did show up, and they did their own moving of her body from the crime scene to under the Christmas tree.
Yeah, they didn't bring some randos from fucking county jail to do it.
No, the randoms in the house just brought donuts and coffee and stuff, and cleaned up the bowl of milk and what was it? Fucking pineapple, and then covered it with a Colorado Avalanche blanket or a sweatshirt. I digress. Okay, we started.
And the conditions were terrible. The way that Jack Olson describes it is like, after a while, because this is a boat shed and there was some water nearby, like it got muddy and there's just all these bodies running together and it smells terrible. I just can't imagine forcing an inmate to be in there and doing that.
No.
That's illegal, right? I mean, you can't do
Not
that.
in Texas, apparently.
Well, yeah. But
No holds barred down there. I think we got to that in part 1. They have their own, country down there.
And it's not like we're talking about prison inmates. We're talking local jail inmates who got busted with a
DUIs
joint
and a joint.
Right.
Yeah.
this is going down like to the
that's
drunk
crazy.
tank and grabbing people.
Yes.
Like, now you're going to dig up some dead bodies today.
Yeah. In a, what you said, like the steel or the metal shed, it's going to be 150 degrees inside that thing.
Yeah, there's tons of pictures from that day because, like we said, they let the media get super close. Yeah, it looks hot as fuck, and everybody looks miserable. But it's crazy. The police are just all standing around, like just looking at all these guys digging.
Have you ever seen a picture of Texas that didn't just look hot as fuck? Every photo just looks hot as fuck.
It's good as it is.
I know.
So by August 13th, police had unearthed 17 boys from the boat shed and bodies from the beach areas, making the total 28 victims, which made it the highest total victim number of a serial killer at that time in the U.S. Coincidentally, on the same day, the record for victims was broken. All searching for further victims stopped, even though Wayne was adamant that there were at least 2 more bodies in the boat shed. And there were a total of 42 boys who went missing from the area between 1970 and 1973, which we know is the confirmed time frame of Dean Corll's murders.
Police just didn't want to do anymore?
I think there's a solid hunch that Jack Olson puts forward in his book that Chief Short was just like, now we're not going any further with this. We already broke a record. I'm done. We're not going to make us look any worse than this.
It just kept piling up and piling up to like, well, what have these cops doing the past 3 years?
Yeah.
All right.
Because he ended up resigning shortly after all this, because this brought in worldwide media.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah. So he ended up resigning, but
still, you had another 14 families looking for possible closure, and you're like, we're done.
Yeah, right. It's not fair to them.
Wayne was very accurate with his description. So I would say there's a really good chance that there were at least 2 more bodies in that boat shed, and they just said, fuck it.
Are they still there? Did this get bulldozed over? What's the final outcome?
Those 2 bodies, no, they have never been found. Wayne Henley was convicted and is serving his life sentence at the Mark W. Michael Unit in Anderson County, Texas. He was eligible for parole starting in 1980, but all of those requests have been denied. He's up for parole again in October of 2025, but I think it's safe to say he's not going anywhere.
He was convicted of murder in all of those bodies, or...
That's what I was going to say. If he's eligible for parole in 7 years, maybe those weren't murder convictions.
What was he?
So Wayne was charged with 6 counts of murder. He was handed down a life sentence, but there were some appeals that went on, which got him eligible for parole. David Brooks was convicted and was serving a life sentence at the Terrell Unit in Rochelle, Texas. David caught COVID and as a result died in the hospital on May 28th, 2020. He was only charged with 1 of the murders.
Okay.
That was of William Lawrence, who went by Billy Lawrence with that note that we read.
Yeah.
He was convicted of murder with malice.
Okay. Except the pretty quick parole there for Wayne.
Yeah,
they like to shut them down and just like kind of destroy their hope, right? Like, we'll give you a chance for parole. Not
denied again.
So like we said just a minute ago, that there was some DNA stuff going on in 2011. For a long time, there was a handful of those bodies that went unidentified. Couldn't figure out who they were. So as of 2011, every victim has been identified. So all the boys that we talked about are all identified.
Oh, that's good.
And just to bring up the Hillgeist family one more time before we go on, after all this, when the news hit and stuff, they were incredibly composed talking to the media, especially Mrs. Hillgeist, because a lot of people are on the thing of blaming Wayne Henley's mother. Like, how did you know your boy wasn't, or how did you know that your boy was up to this kind of stuff? And Mrs. Hillgeist said that she had no ill will toward Wayne Henley's mother, that now that David Hillgeist, her son, was put to rest, Wayne Henley's mother has the bigger cross to bear now on her back.
Wow.
That Wayne is alive and is going to be in prison for the rest of his life.
And I feel like maybe after, all that time, there's a part of you that's just relieved that you have that closure.
Yeah.
And that you did everything you could as a parent.
Oh.
And now you can say your goodbye, come to peace with it and move on. You don't have to think about what happened anymore or where is he?
Right.
Is he still alive? I don't know. I mean, we've never been in that situation. We can't speak to that. That's just me speculating, I guess.
I don't know if admire is the right word, but people I admire people that can be so composed and something like that. I feel like I would have a very bad temper in that type of a situation and say some stupid shit that maybe I didn't mean or should have said a different way.
That would have been me when they were, the Hill guys were first going through it.
Yeah.
I probably would have been arrested for doing some stupid shit. But I almost just feel like after all this time, and at this point, maybe you just came to peace and you're just like, I'm happy this is over. Like, now this is somebody else's problem. I know what happened to my child, and I'm ready to move on. Almost like a weight is off your shoulders. Yeah. Kind of. Maybe. I don't know.
On part 1, I said we'd get into some quotes from Mary West, Dean's mother, regarding her intense denial that Dean could have ever been responsible for all of this. We talked about we don't know much about Dean's childhood. So we'll just end the episode with the last thing that Mary said to the public, which was an open letter to Wayne Henley and David Brooks. And pretty much it seemed to just the whole community in general.
Yeah.
An open letter to everybody. An open letter
saying, my son had nothing to do with this, and how dare you? My heart is heavy with sorrow, not only for the loss of my son, but also for the loss of all the boys and people whose lives were touched. To David and Wayne, you may have the best defense lawyer the world can offer, but your best defense is God. You can lie, plan, and plant evidence to shift the blame to one who cannot defend himself. But you surely know that your days on this earth are numbered, whether it is behind bars or walking the streets. We are not concerned with your bodies, but we are concerned with your souls, and the truth will set you free. If you know where to find the bodies of these children, you also have a list of names. Please set the anxious parent's heart at ease and see how much better you feel. I'm not trying to solve the mystery, as I know nothing about the case. I only know that Dean loved both of you. He did things for you that you could not do for yourself, but you cut off the hand that fed you. Dean cannot help you now. He loaned you his truck to go on dates. He borrowed money from the bank to buy you a vet. Would he have rented the boat shack to bury bodies in and still loan it to friends or the family to store furniture in and help them move in? Would he ever stoop so low as to have these wild parties in a house belonging to his father, whom he adored? He was not a sex maniac or a sadist. You might be able to convince the type of people who drag their children out to see bodies dug up out of the earth that this is true. But the people who know Dean, worked with him, will never believe these terrible accusations. I called him on the telephone Sunday night. I tried calling all day, and when I finally got him, he said he was dodging someone. He did not say who, and I thought perhaps it was someone he might have owed money to. I do not worry, because Dean has never given me cause to worry. The gas mask on the bed proves to me and the world that Dean was not going to shoot you. He only wanted to live and let live. The torture boards were also planted. Where are his clothes and the books I sent him on Help for Today and This Thing Called You by Ernest Holmes?
I'm going to interrupt for 1 second. That gas mask on the bed, so that was evidence that was found there that night. They were using it to smoke weed out of. So I don't know why that like proves anything to her about the wild party. Like she said that wild parties weren't happening. So I don't know why she's even bringing this up.
'Cause she's delusional.
Yeah, I don't know why she's bringing up the gas mask, but that's why the gas mask was there that night.
Parents, pray for your children, and children, write your parents. What a wonderful world this could be if we all turned to God for guidance. The police department could solve all their problems if they too really and truly ask God for help. God does not protect us all from the law. He is the law of love, life, happiness, prosperity, and success.
We all know that's not right. Judge Dredd is the law. I don't know what this lady's talking about.
I cannot help but wonder if the digging would have stopped if the record had not been broken. If the schools and society got off the sex kick and the school teachers only concentrated on the 3 R's, and parents and society taught their children that they are old enough to leave their earthly father, they should depend on their heavenly father for guidance. This world, in my opinion, would be a better place to live. Now that the digging is stopped, let's keep searching for souls with prayer and letters to the press. I'm sure the press will cooperate because they too could use a bit of God's help. Father God, you are my life. You are all life. You make the darkness turn to light and turn swords into plowshares. You can lead nations out of trouble and have your all-seeing eye on the sparrow. There is no big and no little in your vast spiritual system. When you are for us, who can be against us? I pray for the law officers and the attorneys that they do some soul searching and ask for your divine guidance. I know that Dean's life was not shed in vain, and know that our children who left this earth's plane have returned to you and are surrounded by your loving care. Grant the parents of all missing children the strength to wipe the bitterness of their hearts and know that you will not forsake us. Thank you, Father, and so it is. Dean Corll's mother, Mary West.
And that's the story of Dean Corll.
How about that?
It's always good when Ian sums it up and he shuts his laptop. And now you know the rest of the story. Isn't that what it is, Dave?
Yeah.
How it goes?
The rest of the story. I like that swords into plowshares. Mike, you turn your sword into plow wives.
That's true. Daily. Taking bookings. So I don't know. I mean, that.
How old was this woman at this point? If we have any idea. I don't remember their age difference.
I'm just going to guess that she would be probably in her 60s.
At that time?
Yeah. Because
How old was he?
But he would have been 30, 32.
Yeah.
Maybe 50s or 60s, I would guess.
She loves her boy.
Clearly.
And people in the book, in the book, Jack Olson interviews people and stuff. And there were a lot of people that said that they viewed their relationship as weird. Just no one said anything out loud to them, but people would talk behind their backs. And then people said it was like this odd thing where sometimes it felt like Dean was the parent and she was his daughter. Like they had this very,
that's interesting.
Yeah, they had this very weird back and forth type thing.
I mean, she was an odd duck. I think we talked about it in the first episode, right? She went to a psychic who told her to move to Colorado or something. So
to close the candy shop and move.
Yeah.
She's like, fuck this, I'm out. And Dean's like, where's my job?
Yeah. Well, I don't love it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not great.
She pisses me off more probably than she should, given all the story we read and all these other people that should be pissing me off.
And I put her letter in there, even though it's long, because in part one, we don't really get a good look at his childhood at all.
Yeah.
So anything from his mother is all we have. So reading that letter and then what we covered in part one, we pretty much got everything that Mary West had to offer about Dean.
So she's a bit of a kook, probably. So maybe there was some stuff in his childhood.
What we know from her is fucking weird, with the flying squirrels around his neck and stuff that she thought was cool.
That's right.
Every normal people would be like, why is that kid walking around with dead squirrels all over him?
Yeah, that's very bizarre.
Yeah.
I still can't get that picture out of my head. Yeah. Just giant ass flying squirrels. And so Declan did a good thing for once. He did a good intern. And some people sent us some articles, actually, that just last week, I think, an article popped up out of Texas.
Yeah. Is this the date? It says published 1 day ago. Is that accurate?
By the time this episode comes out, it'll be a week ago.
Yeah. So, yeah, and this is completely breaking kayfabe. Like, I'm just reading this for the first time when we took a break here. I have not seen this article. So, actually, Wayne is being considered for compassionate release by a parole board. Usually, according to this article from Houston, that's reserved for someone that has a terminal illness or something along those lines.
Let you go die at home.
Yeah. Stanton Dramala, who we said his son was killed, was one of the last ones killed on that big stretch. He's the only parent alive of any of those boys.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
He's the only surviving one. So he's fighting that and saying, I don't give a fuck. If he's got a terminal illness, he needs to die behind bars.
Agree.
Yeah, I'm with him.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Since when's Texas forgiving like that?
Yeah, also.
Like, why are they being so nice about that?
But it didn't even say what terminal illness he might have.
No, it didn't even say that for sure. Just the news article just said that that's usually what those are reserved for.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm coming out against that happening.
Yes.
My personal opinion.
I think we're 3 for 3 on that one.
And I know I might have come off sounding like I was sympathetic towards David Brooks. David Brooks is exactly where he belongs. He could have turned away at any time. This wasn't like
You mean dead from COVID?
Like you brought up the cult thing. And I think there's an aspect of that, you know, where Dean had a hold over him, but didn't have a hold over him like that. Like this wasn't this long-term thing where he was under Dean's control for years or something like that. He was just too scared, I think, to tell anybody what happened. And okay, but you kept bringing people to him.
Yeah.
You know,
an active participant.
Yeah. So do I feel bad about his life, how he was brought up? Sure. But he's exactly where he belongs.
Agree.
Yeah, I don't feel much sympathy for him and getting what he got in the end and, you know, being sentenced to life. Both of them. And I certainly don't support this, whatever that is, compassion release. Like,
no.
You're sentenced to life in prison. It's for a reason. Then you die in there.
Like, this isn't a robbery that escalated, got out of control, and one person got shot or something. This is wholesale slaughter of a bunch of kids. So, no.
And Wayne being a major part of multiple killings.
Doing the killings, yeah.
At least
did a killing.
5 that I can think of that he physically helped strangle the kid with his hands.
Yeah. Like this guy should have been killed a long time ago. I mean, he shouldn't even be talking about compassionate release. He shouldn't even be alive.
Yeah, no. If anything deserves a death penalty, it's this story.
Yeah. Like we don't need to live in a planet where these people exist. They don't need to exist.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, without taking us down a whole nother road,
I
don't disagree with those statements. I just don't think it's our right to take their life away. I had a point I was going to say, though, before that, and I can't remember what the fuck it was. God damn it.
Something about Dean Corll gives me that.
Oh, that's what I was
that real kind of eye for an eye type feeling with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, we should put a couple glass tubes up your urethra and snap them off.
Let you sit there for 3 days.
Yeah. I feel like in a perfect world, Dean Corll should have had an eye for an eye for everything he did.
Absolutely.
So when I was reading these, the notes, obviously, like usual, I didn't know what was going to happen. Like halfway through part 3 notes, the main character got killed. And I was like, holy fuck. I did not expect
probably
that.
Surprised you, right?
Yeah. I was like, as I'm reading the notes and he's talking about how like Wayne's backing up, I'm like, oh fuck, there's gonna be like a scuffle. Dean's gonna kill him or something. No, Dean got fucking popped and that was it. I was like, oh shit, this is different than most of the stories we cover. So it was a little surprise.
It's like, did Ian write the main character out before the season finale? What's going on here?
Right. Look, I am against the government and our criminal justice system putting people to death. But in situations like this, I have no problem with Wayne shooting him and killing him. I wish it was a better victim that killed him, not someone who has killed other people. But it was, nice to hear that he splattered against the wall and his head was just sitting there against the wall. Still we're not going to post the photo, but...
He's laying there naked. He's got his farmer's tan going.
Yeah, I'll post it. I don't care.
We have a habit of not posting death photos on this.
Oh, do we?
Well, I don't think we. The last time I think we actually posted stuff was like the torso murders, maybe.
That's not my department. I don't get involved in that.
That's fine. Like we didn't do like the OJ stuff, like just crime scene photos in general. Any crime scene photos, I think. Period. We try to be, wary of what we post.
This is not a victim crime scene, though.
It's not. It's different.
I don't know what to make of Wayne. I almost wonder if he was just trying to defend that Rhonda Williams girl. And that's the only reason he did anything to Dean, because he liked her. He did,
And that's when he finally was like, I'm standing up against you.
Yeah.
Sure seems like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, like what changed other than her being there?
Yeah.
The first time a woman was present.
Yeah.
Oh. The big tough guy now.
You talked about the Mindhunter with him last week. Did they really interview him? I could not find that.
What do you mean?
Did any of the FBI profilers really go in there and have a conversation like that? It seems like that part was made up for the show.
I don't know if any FBI profilers did, but he talks nonstop.
Yeah.
You know, there's tons of on-screen interviews with him. He's a big talker. He's very, like we said last week or maybe earlier, it's like his time to shine kind of thing.
He kept that going, huh?
Yeah.
It's a sad, disturbing, disgusting story. Can't say I enjoyed it.
I think everything that we talked about, what Dean did and Wayne and David Brooks helped out with, the whole sex ring thing and from part 1 at the very end, it's just a big reminder that the world is a really scary fucking place.
Boy,
especially if you're in Texas. I'm kidding. We've shed on Texas a lot. It's a fine state.
I haven't. I like Texas. It's fun.
It's an okay state.
Like, talk about a story that makes you want to just keep your kids super close to you and like not let them out of your sight.
Yeah, this is
the one.
Yeah.
Sure.
This is the kind of shit.
What do we think about his actual relationship to that sex ring? I don't think it's ever been proven. A lot of people think that.
The fact that
I think the link to Gacy is probably, that would be too coincidental to not be there.
I think the fact that there was that bust where pictures of Dean's victims were found in that bust,
Right.
and then those guys were linked to that ring, I think that's enough for me to say that I think Dean was involved in that.
I think so too, yeah. But I don't think we'll ever know how he got hooked up with all that.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, it's just a reminder that the world is a scary place.
That it is.
That there's communities of people that
were actively trying to do you harm
and actively being involved in child pornography and stuff. That there's a market for that. It's scary.
Yeah. Well, this is the feel good hit of the summer, huh?
Real good. Real good.
Jeez. I'm gonna go drink some bleach now. Guys.
Yeah, I think so.
But my COVID's already gone, so I don't need to.
Any other final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Nah, I'm gonna go home and smoke some weed and watch wrestling.
There you go. Something fun. Listen to some Art Bell maybe before bed.
Yeah, I do that nightly now.
I finished the Antichrist one.
Any good Antichrist?
I think I talked about it a couple weeks ago. I got one call that I think we might be able to use, and it's only like a minute long. Wasn't great. A lot of tomfoolery.
You don't say with the Antichrist.
But I have like 5 other episodes downloaded that I'm going to go back and listen to. And
this is for Halloween?
I'm preparing.
Okay.
Yeah, for our Ghost to Ghost tribute. Because we're not going to, I think we've covered all the Ghost to Ghost episodes. So I like to do the open line ones.
Okay.
Because that's when you get like the ridiculous callers, as opposed to like when he's interviewing someone. You know, those are a little longer, probably not the best. Again, this will probably be on Patreon this year. Last year we did a Sunday show because it was on a Sunday, Halloween. But anyways, yeah. So even when I'm just listening to Art Bell throughout the year, I'll keep track if I hear a good call, just to like, hey, maybe remember this one in October.
Yeah.
So that Antichrist one, it was a fun show, but one good call that we could maybe use. Anyways.
Good stuff.
All right, we got some patron shout outs. Thank you very much to Cecilia Rask, McKenna Scheller, Michael Horton, Jordan Brenneman, Kevin Murray, Elizabeth Moffett, Mike's Old Fling, Jack N. Makakov. That's not Dave's. Rob T, Tori Jarrett, Paula R, Kayla Toole, Ivana Eat My Own Ass. That's Dave's. Stacy W, Lord Bristow, Dave's autographed copy of the Bible, Megan Holly, Wilma Dicklift. Wilma Dickfit. Dave, you're the Ivana Eat My Own Ass, right?
Yeah, but I kind of, I did Ivana E and then to my own ass.
That's true. I read it more,
The middle name wasn't Eat. The middle name was
E. Ivana E to my own ass.
I think it's Megan Holly, not Megan.
See, with these Megans and Megans, you don't know.
Is that a thing, Megan?
Megan's a name, yeah.
It is?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I think
thought it was Megan.
Conrad's wife is Megan Flair.
Megan?
Ric Flair's daughter is Megan.
Oh.
Isn't there? Who's Megan Anderson? Is that a UFC fighter?
Oh, yeah, Megan Anderson. But she's from Australia, so she exists. But, yeah, Megan's a name.
Okay. Well, Megan, I apologize if that's your name.
It could be Megan. There's so many fucking ways to spell these names, though. Because I think Megan Anderson, the UFC fighter, is spelled like Megan. But it's pronounced
It's
Megan.
very confusing times.
Anyways, Megan or Megan Holly. Okay. Wilma Dickfit. Chelsea A Cut Goddess Quinn. Josh Cunningham. Jennifer Hubbard. Jay Kumba. Roscoe Skur. Mike Clitoris. Thank you all very much. We are at patreon.com/Necronomipod. Ian.
I have nothing. No iTunes reviews tonight.
Goddamn, people, step the fuck up. The hell's going on out there?
Lame.
Ian's bored over here. He's got nothing to talk about. Dave, what do you got?
I got one for Henwood14 from Australia and OK What's Up from Canada. Thank you for the very kind reviews.
The international corner.
Love the international people.
Who doesn't? All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the series. It was thorough information, not necessarily entertaining, but
hopefully it was entertaining to some degree. All right, you guys ready for a cool down beer?
Cheers.